Hello, welcome to episode 31 of Fluffy Fibres, the French podcast in English on sewing, knitting, spinning and living green, and of course with the occasional help of the kitty bears. This is Isabelle and I'm very happy to be back with you today on what is an incredibly hot day here in Languedoc, southern France. I do hope you're all well and thank you so very much for taking some time to watch me today or listen to me, and I do hope you enjoy this episode. You can find me as Fluffy Fibres on Ravelry, Instagram, Twitter, and you can find the show notes for the podcast at fluffyfibres.com, which is a recent change from cuttecouture.blogspot.com. And if you do follow me by RSS feed, do remember to change the feed to the new fluffyfibres.com feed, otherwise you won't receive the updates anymore. But if you just follow the podcast through iTunes for the audio or YouTube for the video, then you don't need to do anything, or neither of these has changed really. So today's episode will include my cup of tea, a handmade wardrobe, a bit of sewing, a bit of knitting, quite a bit of spinning again, and my experience at the Yarn and Fibre Festival, which was Le Lot et la Laine. But before I move on to all this, I just wanted to have a bit of a chit-chat with you, and the kitty wants to say hi once again, of course. Ça va, petite mignonne? Tu veux faire un petit câlin? It's so funny, whenever she hears me talk in English, basically, she's a bit crazy. She just loves it somehow, and she always wants to check out what I'm doing, basically. So, good to see her again. Ça va, petite mignonne? She's really, really hot as well. So, it's been 39 to 40 degrees every single day for the past few days, and it's going to go on for the rest of the week, almost the whole week. And the thing is, it's really been like that. Usually we get massive heat waves, but then it abates somehow. But over the past month, it's been like that, it's barely gone down below 35 degrees, which is just so difficult, especially at night, because we don't have, we hardly have any AC in houses here. And so it means that we get really, really hot at night because the temps don't really go down. So the best we can manage in the flat is 30, 31 degrees at night, which is really not ideal for sleeping. So right now I'm on my own in the flat with Petite Mignonne. We're just the two of us, and she's been extra cuddly because we're just on our own. And Seb's parents are renting a small bungalow at a lake 1 hour north from here, and so Seb and my daughter are there right now, and my daughter is going to spend the whole week over there. Seb is going to come back tomorrow probably, and so she's going to be on her own for the first time, which has me a little nervous, I'll be honest. It's the first time we're doing this, and I think I'm even more nervous because of the whole hospital thing that we had. And I think it's made me a little more nervous than I used to be, I don't know. But I'm sure, I think it's quite understandable, isn't it? And I'm sure it will go well, but it's just really, well, it's something new, But yes, I've had to stay here because I have quite a lot of work to do before we are able to go on our week-long holiday at the first week of August. So there's a big chunk of work that I need to get done before that. So I'm on my own. It's very quiet, and because it's so hot everywhere, and they've taken the only fan that we had because they didn't have any over there, so they've taken it. But we do have a tiny fan unit in my sewing room, as it happens. So I've been spending my days over there, basically, not sewing but working. I just installed my whole stuff to work, and yes, I've been very productive, which I'm very happy about, because it means I'm going to be so much more serene when we go on holidays. So, apart from that, before I move on to the regular segments, I just wanted to mention something that was very exciting and quite an honour. A Playful Day was running the theme of creative identity for the month of June, and she asked me to write a piece about that, to collaborate and just share my own take on this theme. And I was very happy that she asked me, because it really resonated with me. And so I wrote up a piece, and with quite a bit of pictures. The focus as well was to be, you know, on pictures, really, on a visual identity as well. And her previous theme, or maybe the theme before, I think it was her previous theme for May, was a handmade wardrobe. And for me, creative identity and having a handmade wardrobe are completely inseparable, obviously. So I did a bit of both, really, in this article. So do check it out if you're interested at aplayfulday.com. You know, Kate is a wonderful podcaster. She's one of the first podcasters I've ever listened to. I've listened to her from the very start, and she's still one of my utter favourites. Her podcast and her blog always have amazing content, very dense, well, not in a bad way, but very profound content. She's always such a pleasure, and her Instagram feed as well is just quite wonderful. So I was very honoured to be asked to do that, so thank you very much, Kate, for that. And it happened, I think, between the time I recorded and the time I published the episode, basically last time, so it's quite a bit of time now, but, you know, it doesn't matter really, does it? So now let's move on to my cup of tea, which isn't really tea at all. It's a water infusion, which I'm drinking in a very tall mug because we're out of all our tall glasses. We've happened to break them all. And we haven't had the opportunity or thought of replacing them. So I'm using an extra tall mug that was from IKEA, I think, from ages ago. But I think I like it because it's winter themed, so it means it's very refreshing to look at right now. So I'm drinking something that my brother brought us. My brother and his wife and their baby were over for a visit, you know, just overnight, for 24 hours basically, 3 weekends ago. Because they were off to holidays nearby again. You know, this is a great holiday place here, so that was really wonderful to get to see him and to chat. And he gave us these 2 blends of infusion, really just fruit and flower infusions that you can steep in cold water. You steep them, you know, in a jug, put them in the fridge, add a little sugar if you want, or don't if you don't want to, and then you're good to go. And that's what I've been drinking a lot of, on top of lots and lots of water. This is really, really very tasty. I think it's called Tropical Garden, this one, and it's from Le Palais d'été, which is a very well spread, fancy kind of tea shop, you know, line of tea shops here in France. You can find them in pretty much every big town. I think they also have a few shops internationally as well. It's a bit on the pricey range, so it's great to get for gifts. They're not organic, but they really do have nice blends. So I've been enjoying this one so much. So as the name implies, it's a lot of tropical fruit, and it's just glorious. So what I do is I'll make a jug in the morning and start drinking it, starting, you know, 10 or 11, and drink my way through. Every time I drink from it, I add some more water to replace what I've drunk. But basically I just use 1 large spoonful of the infusion in the morning for the whole day. And it means that I haven't really been drinking any tea at all, even in the morning right now. I just want to drink water and this kind of thing, and just no tea at all, which I think is great as well. Every now and then to just give yourself a break from caffeine, and even though there isn't that much caffeine in tea compared to with coffee, but still, I think it's good to see that you can completely get off it, if that makes any sense. So for a handmade wardrobe today, I'm wearing, I completely forgot to go and find the pattern envelope, so I'm going to pause and take it. It's right next to me, right in a cabinet next to me, so I'll be right back. So it is this Simplicity 3803 dress, which is a threads pattern. As I told you, I love threads pattern. I think they're really a great line from the Simplicity collection. And so it has this midriff band, again, that really defines the waist very well. The bodice is fully lined as well, which I find is a very nice touch. It's very well finished if you want. And yeah, so it's, I think I made several versions of this one, I can't remember. So there's a maxi version and a midi, I think that's what you call them, just below the knee version. And I made the maxi version for this one. So it's very long and flowy and very summery. So, yes, I'm very excited because Kristen of the Yarngasm podcast has been starting to make some of these Simplicity new look dresses with great success. The hair dresses turned out amazing, and it's very exciting to see that. It's she said she was inspired by me, but now I'm inspired by her to get sewing again. So that's really, really great, really fun. So now for a bit of sewing. I have hardly sewn anything, and I'm very sorry, the cat is incredibly distracting today. I think she just wants attention. Tu veux refaire un petit câlin, petite mignonne? Viens. Viens, petit chat. Viens. Okay. We'll just have another little cuddle while I'll show my one sewing project. So I made myself a massive owl's bag. In the owl fabric that I mentioned last time. One of you, Gay BJ, won one of these for a giveaway for within the podcast, and I decided to make myself a really, really big bag because I don't have a very large bag like that, and I didn't box the bottom like I usually do. So it's my usual drawstring bag, lined with cream calico. And yeah, it's very simple, but I think I'm going to use this for my, the handspun blanket that I'm going to start soon. So I felt that would be very nice to put all my minis and the blanket in. So that's it for my sewing this time. I just haven't had the opportunity to sew much. I haven't had a lot of time to knit either, but I really wanted to record a podcast to talk above all about the festival that I'm going to talk about later. So in terms of sewing, first of all, I wanted to thank Melinda of the Yonder Women podcast, because when she heard that my daughter had been so ill, she wanted to send me a little pick-me-up, which I thought was so incredibly kind and thoughtful. And she gifted me the Mrs. Bakery Bears pattern by Kate Jones, which had been on my wish list. And I think that was so incredibly thoughtful because it was both a gift for me and my daughter. So that's going to be a very fun project to knit on. And Kate, the great timing is that Kay and Dan have been filming lately a series of finishing tutorials for these bakery bears for the patrons of their podcast. And the tutorials are really very great. There are lots of tips to achieve very neat finishing. I think that's really crucial for toys because toys can really look wonky, I think, knitted toys, if you don't have these, finishing touches and if you don't know what to do, basically, when you're sewing it all up. It can really look wonderful, or it can look really happy hands at home, if you see what I mean. So I'm really excited about that. I need to dig out in my stash what kind of wool I can use. I'm sure I think I have some Cascade which would work well, I think. We'll see. But that's going to be so fun to make, and I know my daughter is going to be so happy about that. The other day she was asking me about, well, not about, for a toy, a softie. She said, I think she was looking at my Rebecca Danger book, and she said, I want a blue softie. So we'll see how I can accommodate this. So as far as my current knitting is concerned, I've been knitting on 2 cardigans, as it happens. One for me and one for my daughter. So my cardigan is the Lobelia cardigan by Megan Fernandez, and it was published in Pumper Magazine issue 4, which was from spring 2013. And I'm knitting this out of my little Toile de Jouy project bag, which I made, I think, about a year ago, actually. I think it matched really well, the project. It's the same fabric as my tablet case that I made a year ago as well. So this cardigan is knit out of lace weight. It's Vollenvine Luft lace, which is a mix of merino and silk. It's really very, very lovely yarn. It shines, it really does. It's really quite lovely to knit with. And it's her fairy hair colourway, which I've, you know, praised a lot in the past already. I really, really love this colourway. And so it has these beautiful flower lace raglan increases, which I'm now done with. I'm about 10-15 centimeters down from the armholes now. So yes, it's going well. It's a very fitted cardigan, very, you know, lightweight kind of, autumn or spring cardigan. With cropped sleeves, and it's quite cropped as well, though I'm hoping to be able to knit it a bit longer than the pattern calls for. But I need to, well, I think I have quite a bit of yarn left actually, so I need to weigh it and see how much left I have exactly, and probably I need to knit the sleeves before I don't know, I'll see, but it's going swimmingly. I mean, I haven't been able to knit much. But, you know, it's really going well, though. It's very mindless knitting now, obviously, now that I'm just at the reverse stockinette portion. And then it has this lovely ribbing with a little cable detail down the ribbing, which I really love, for the bottom of the cardigan. So that's one project, and my second project is in my little vintage Liberty Quilt fabric, which is not in itself vintage, but they reissued vintage prints a few years ago for the V&A exhibition that I talked about a few episodes back. And this is the little Encolie design. I don't think I had cast it on. No, I hadn't cast it on last time I podcasted. I mentioned it. So it's a design by Nadia Crétin-Lechen, who has the Itty Bitty blog, and it is this lovely top-down raglan cardigan with a lace yoke, a bit of an eyelet detail on the yoke, and then you have this gathered down for the fronts, and it's quite long, really, in the skirt. The skirt is quite long, and I'm knitting it in the size 6 so that it lasts for a while. My daughter is 3. She's currently wearing size 4 clothes, so I figured that might work well. And I am using my Surnaturel yarn that my parents gave to me as a Christmas gift, and I knit my heater for day out of this. So this is to be the matching cardigan for my daughter for autumn, for when she goes to school in the autumn. So this is this was incredibly frustrating. I have reached at the armholes yesterday evening, and so I've done all the raglan increases and the lace detail. I've done the kind of ruffle increases for the waist, the empire waist. But the way the pattern is, because the lace detail is only charted, and I found the way the pattern itself is, I mean, the finished product is really lovely, but I found the lace portion to be incredibly confusing, because for me, and I still don't agree with the lace, the charts really, because to me what they say was the right front, to me is the left front. So I thought that, because for me that is the left front, right? Okay, let me see. Yes, that's what you start knitting on, and to me that is the left front. And the way it's shown on the chart, I don't want to give it anything away, but I just felt you need to go the other way around. You need to read the pattern from right to left for the left front, and from left to right for the right front, which I think is... So I had quite a few false starts on this. I had to reknit. I think I was down about there, and to reknit all of this, so 3 times. There are short rows as well at the back, which I find is quite nice, but you do have to pay a lot of attention at first, because you have so much going on really in the pattern. So yeah, it's, I don't know, it's not, maybe it's because it's Swiss designer and it's originally designed in French, and to be honest, I'm so used to English patterns, and I've taught myself to knit in English anyway, so I don't know, maybe that's why, but I just felt it was so confusing. But anyway, now I'm done with it. It does look like the picture, the finished picture, so I think, well, it does look okay, doesn't it? I don't think I made any mistakes, I hope. And now it's going to be smooth sailing, of course. It's just the stockinette until the end, and then the sleeves, so now I'm safe. So I just have this smooth sailing for both the cardigans now that I've joined, and the underarms for both. And I do think we're going to love the finished product of this. The colour of this yarn, so it's 100% French merino, and the colour is this slate colourway, which I talked over and over in the podcast, which is this very vibrant grey, which I think is completely adequate for a child as well. I know some people say grey is a little sad for a child, but I think this is really a very colourful grey with lots of depth to it, so I think it completely works. And it should go with a lot of her things in her wardrobe. So that is it for my knitting. I haven't done much because, honestly, I haven't knit that much. I haven't knit at all at the Lotte Laine, or hardly any. And then we've been really busy. My in-laws were here. I was really busy. I had so much work. It seems because I took 2 days off for the Lotte Laine around the weekend, and it seems whenever I do that, I have at least 1 week to catch up on the work I wasn't able to do. So yes, I've been really, really busy catching up with everything, and you know, making the house ready for my in-laws. Yeah, so I baked a clafoutis for them when they came over to fetch my daughter and Seb. And it really was quite successful. But I got so many compliments on this that I was really quite pleased. So, and I completely improvised the recipe because I wanted to make an apricot pie. But as it turned out, it was Sunday morning, and I was completely convinced I still had some flour left, plenty of it. But I completely forgot that I'd made 2 pizzas when my brother came over. I made 2 pizzas and I made the dough as well, obviously. And so it equaled 500 grams of flour. So I was mostly out of flour. So I figured that a clafoutis didn't need as much flour so that I would get away with it. But I didn't have milk either. So I ended up really improvising this. I just looked online a few recipes to get a feel of the proportions, if you want, between flour and liquids, really. And then I added some almond milk and some oats cream. And it turned out really nice. And I did write down the recipe, so I might reproduce it. And it was quite refreshing for summer as well. I think more refreshing than a pie, really. So if you want me to share the recipe, I would gladly do so. Just let me know and I can share it next time, or just write it down on the Ravelry group or on the blog maybe even. But yeah, anyway, hence the lack of sewing and knitting content really. But it's okay, because I did do quite a bit of spinning. It's being Tour de Fleece and everything. I'll always feel more like spinning in the summer. Well, I say always, as if, you know, I've been spinning for years. But it's really been only my second year spinning seriously. I only started to get back to sewing seriously last year, really, last summer. And yeah, but for the second year in a row, I've really been enjoying spinning a lot more than knitting or sewing. I think it's also due to the heat, I think. But it's really been lovely spinning, and my daughter really enjoys spinning. She really enjoys when I spin. She's really interested in it. She really wants to help me. And I don't know, we've just been having a lot of fun times together while I was spinning. And so that's really quite nice. So, first of all, for Tour de Fleece, I started off with plying a braid of Sarah's Texture Crafts from her Colour Collab one that I'd been spinning last time, and I talked at length about her colour collabs and her fibre, and so I plied it. If you're on Instagram, you've probably seen this already. And it's BFL and silk, so it's really very soft and very shiny. It really shines. And it's all these corals and blues. I'm going to skein this back up, twist it back up, so that I think maybe you can see it better. So it's corals and blues and browns. And I really very much love this. And I completely wanted to mix up the colours as much as possible in this to get as much bob pooling as I could. So the only colour management that I did was to make sure that I would ply a coral with blue, if you want, which is exactly what happened. So I'm very, very pleased with it. It shows a little light on the camera. Let me see if I can. Yes, that's better. So yeah, it's a very happy skein. I spun this as a stress relieving technique, if you want, strategy, when my daughter was very ill. That's the way I do things now when I'm really stressed out, is spin a braid of fibre, of glorious fibre. So, and I'm very happy with the way they stand out in terms of spinning as well. So it's a 2-ply, and I'm usually not, I think especially the plying, I think my spinning is a lot better, but the plying, I've really been trying to make a better job at, you know, not either underplying or overplying, and I think I really reached a nice balance with this one. I've been taking the plying class on Craftsy. I can't remember off the top of my head the exact name of it, but there's a plying class on Craftsy, which is really quite useful. I haven't finished it yet, but it really helped me, especially because I wasn't understanding why my fibre looked really fine before I washed it. And then it came underplied, and now I know, because you need to overply it just a bit so that it relaxes out a little when you wash it. And usually I was aiming for a balanced yarn on my wool, which meant that when I washed it, it relaxed a little too much. So that's really been a great tip from her. So I'm very, very proud of that skein. Yes, I think it's one of my prettiest, and technically speaking, I think it's my best work so far. So, yeah, and I really feel overall, especially with spinning my minis, and these are the minis that I've been spinning so far for Tour de Fleece. So I spun a few more before that, and now I've spun these for Tour de Fleece, so 5 of them. And one more is on a couple of bobbins waiting to be plied. Oh, and I have another one actually that I haven't washed yet. So these are all from fondant fibre, and I've realised that spinning minis, because I've set up a group, a thread on the group for the mini spin along that we started, and a few beginner spinners have been joining, which I think is wonderful, because I think this is a great way of teaching yourself, of improving your technique. Because the thing is, when you spin a whole 100 grams, 4 ounces braid, you tend to do the same gesture over and over, and you're going to get this one try at spinning and this one try at applying it, you know, it's going to be overall the same kind of result. But the thing is, each of these is a small experiment, you know, but you get to go through all the steps of spinning an entire braid. So that's been a great way to experiment with various degrees of fineness in plying, and you know, playing around with my whirls as well, the whirls of my spinning wheel. And I feel this has been a great way to learn to improve my spinning technique, you know, to really fine-tune it, is what I mean. And for instance, this one I'm really happy about. I think it's my favourite, and as it happens, this was a sample. This was not a fuzzling that I bought, but this was a sample that I got, I think, with my last order. It's called Angel Cake, and it's this absolutely lovely pink and light coral. It really looks like, you know, a cake or candy, really. I really, really like this one. I think I did a much better job than I used to playing it, you know. And yes, through this corally pink one, this one which is tropical greens and blues, and again I'm spinning these towards a hand spun crochet blanket. So because of that, and because when you crochet you tend to twist the yarn differently in the opposite direction than when you knit, so you tend to unply a regular knitting yarn. So because of that, I'm spinning these and plying these in the opposite direction that we usually do. I'm spinning these S-wise and plying these Z-wise. And a good friend of mine, who is Cardigan, who is Mum Glue Glue on Ravelry, and she's a great spinner. She really, she's a friend from Montpellier, so she sets up the whole knitting group actually here, and so I get to see her spinning. She's the one who taught me how to knit, actually. So I owe her a lot. And her spinning is very nice. Actually, when I spun this, and Karine, if you're watching, I really have to show it to you. But when I spun this, I thought of her. When it turned out, you know, when it came out of the wash, the way it was balanced and the fineness of it as well, it just made me think of the kind of work she would do, which for me is quite an achievement, to be honest. So she told me she'd been watching the episode where I talk about why I spin, you know, in the opposite way to what we usually do as spinners. And she told me there was an article in Spin-Off about that, and she showed me the article very kindly. And so there were several samples crocheted up from spun fibre, which were applied in either direction. And what the very interesting result is, ultimately, if you want a very defined kind of stitch, then do twist in the opposite direction, because, you know, you're going to accentuate the twist that you do with crochet if you spin it Z-wise. But if you want a rather fluffier result, softer result then, and drapier result as well, then you can still crochet some regularly spun yarn. So I thought that was quite interesting. But the thing is, I think I do like a nice definition to my work. So I think, yeah, so I think it does make sense to do it like that. But it was really interesting to know about that. So thank you very much, Karine. So there's also a green and orange one, which this one I spun at Le Lot et la Laine actually. One evening. I didn't get to spin nearly as much as I wanted at the festival because I was just so busy. But the last evening, I set myself up in the garden of the hostel we were staying at, and I spun this one. My daughter got to choose the colour. Typically, my daughter chooses the colours for me. I show them my fuzzlings and ask her which one should I spin now. There's also this very fun one, which is mauves and greys with lots of sparkle. I really like this one. A purple one. And then the one I finished yesterday, which I haven't washed and properly finished yet, is this one. And for this one, I'm trying something different. Again, I'm really experimenting with these and trying new things or different things. And now what I want to try, because I really like the look of Navajo plied yarn. I think it's very neat, very round, and I think it would look really great in a crochet blanket or in any kind of blanket. But to achieve a fingering weight yarn, obviously I need to spin finer, so that's what I've been wanting to do with this one. So this is Navajo plied, and I spun it finer, and it's I'm really happy because it does, yes, it's really the same diameter. You're not going to see that on camera, unfortunately, but it really is the same diameter as my 2-plies, which I spun it just a bit thicker. So I tried to do a little finer than my default, basically, because my default, I think, is lace weight singles that turn into fingering weight yarn when they are 2-plied. So this is really finely spun. And then I Navajo plied it, and I'm going to try and do that for the next fuzzlings for now. I think I'm going to actually set up the lace flyer on my Sonata wheel to do that. So I think that is it for my spinning. Yes, so I've made, for Tour de Fleece so far, I have 6 fuzzlings. They are each 14 to 15 grams, and I have this plied fibre braid from Sarah's Texture Crafts, and also plied, but I didn't bring it up because honestly they are just on bobbins, it doesn't make any sense to show you. But I finished plying my white-faced woodland, so I just need now to skein it and wash it, so I'll show it to you next time. So yes, that's it for all my projects. And yes, before I move on to the festival recap, I just wanted to talk about the mini spin along. Just to remind you that this is going on. You can use hashtag mini spin along on Instagram. There will be an Instagram prize for sure. I think that's always so fun to do that. And the point is just to spin minis during the summer. And I'm going to spin mine towards the blanket, but you obviously don't have to. And you can make little toys out of them, little stuffies, anything you want, or just just for fun, just to have a pretty thing to look at, just for decor. So the Ravelry thread for this has been quite active while I was away on at Le Lot et la Laine, and I've been a bit absent from my board because I've been so busy and because I was away, and we didn't have the internet at Le Lot et la Laine, and I hardly had any signal at all. So I've completely missed out on a ton of things on Instagram and so much. If you tagged me basically over those 5 days that I was away, I didn't see it. So I really apologize. Or if you commented or something or anything, I just didn't see it. So I do apologize if I missed that. It wasn't a way to ignore you or whatever. So there will be prizes for finished minis, but also for Instagram pictures and maybe a prize for the chat thread as well, because I'm really grateful to all of you who've taken the time to participate over there and not just, you know, post. I know we can all do that. We're all very busy and we can't participate everywhere. Things are just so busy, aren't they? But I really would like to show my appreciation to those of you who've been able and been willing to post your thoughts on the chat thread. So I might just also have a random prize for random drawing for the chat thread, really. So before I close up, I just wanted to thank very, very much Mama to Abigail, who is Erin. She is Mama to Abigail on Instagram. She has the Holland Handmade podcast on YouTube, and she has the Holland Handmade Co. Etsy shop. And she was kind enough to send an incredibly generous package with lots of things in there. So first of all, there were 2 project bags. She makes really pretty project bags on Etsy, which are, you know, various prints. They are drawstring bags with. She really mixes and matches very fun prints together, and I think she does it really well. So she sent me this one, and she sent one for you as well, which I'm going to offer up as a giveaway on the one of the Ravelry threads. So it's this very fun, bright yellows and greens with polka dot lining and a kind of plaid drawstring portion here. Very, very well made, really precious little bags. And so she sells these in her shop. And we'd been following one another on Instagram, and actually I'd been admiring her bags. And the funny thing is, I was about to offer that we do a project bag swap. And then before I had time to do that, she messaged me on Ravelry asking me for my address to send me a little something. So that was part of what she sent me. So this is, and within this, there were 2 packages. So there was this one, which went with the green one, with a mini skein that was really very cute, and a little tea. So the winner will get of the giveaway, which I will simply post a thread for on Ravelry, very simply. So you will win this adorable drawstring bag with a boxed bottom, very fun prints, and within it you will have this serene jasmine green tea and this very cute mini skein. Very generous price, isn't it? And I have the same. So I have this glorious bag and some Yugi tea, peach detox, and a green skein. And then she was incredibly generous and sent me, I think in keeping with my obsession with lace weight lately, she sent me 2 skeins of Knit Picks shimmer yarn, which is lace weight alpaca and silk. So there's 100 grams total. Really very lovely, and I think the colour is called Lip Gloss, and it's a very fun tone and tone pinks, but this kind of vibrant deep pink that I really like. So, and I'm just so smitten with the way this goes with the bag. I just think that's just so fun. I just love it so much. So that's just so beautiful. And then something that goes really well with it is this incredibly generous length of fabric, which is Cafe Facet, because she knows I love it, because I have a dress, you know, out of Mille Fiori Blue by Cafe Facet is my favourite dress, one of my favourite dresses ever. So this is it's a very generous cut, because it's way enough to make a garment for me. And these are just flowers in lots of various very neon pop colours that I really like. And again, look at how fun that is together. Just look at that. I just think this is just so fun. And she also sent another length, also very generous, again, enough to make a garment, again Cafe Facet, blue, which I love, obviously, with lots of very busy print with lots of circles. I really like it. I really, really like it. Thank you so very much, Erin. That is just so generous. And on top of it all, she added, you know, it was just the package that never ended, really. She added some books for my daughter, which I don't have here. They're in my daughter's bedroom, but that was so incredibly thoughtful. And they're books in English, which is quite exciting. And she told me these were books from her daughter, you know, these were her daughter's favourite books. And I just thought that was just so incredibly thoughtful to include something for my daughter. And so just thank you so much, Erin. And I really look forward to making a little parcel from you for you whenever I get the chance. And thank you so very much. That was just so very, very kind of you.